Boom, there we go. Hey guys, it's good to hear from Outdoorphoto, and today I want to talk to you about simplifying things. But first, we've got to complicate things. We're going to dive into the RØDECaster Video. This device is the next step in the evolution of streaming and recording your podcasts or videos or anything that you want to put together. Hey guys, let's check it out. In the past, we've kind of gone through a couple of different phases, if we can put it that way. So we started off with Atom Mini Pro, no problem. Great little switcher, great product. We've got the camera set up here. All the HDMI cables are running into it. We need audio to be put into it. So we eventually upgraded the audio to a RØDECaster Duo. But then we had a couple of snags with a Atom Mini Pro, and we eventually evolved to the ISO version. And eventually for this desk, we got the Atom Mini Extreme ISO. The Extreme ISO runs 8 channels. That's the only difference between this one and the Atom Mini Pro ISO. In terms of what they do, the ISO stands for you recording all the inputs coming into this device, which makes it a lot easier, because in the past, I used to manage the feed. And whilst I'm producing or hosting a podcast, I kind of have to keep in mind, okay, camera 1 is on myself, camera 2 is the wide angle shot, camera 3 is on my guest. So I would be switching between these 3 channels constantly, depending on what we're doing. And I have to do that whilst I'm maintaining eye contact with my guest in the show. In a situation where Amarish is sitting next to me, it helps tremendously in terms of managing all of this. But instead of just putting this desk in front of her, we now have a situation where the audio also needs to be controlled. So you also need kind of headphones and managing everything else here. And with the RØDECaster Duo, you've got the Apex processing, the Revolution preamps, everything else. It's a lacquer system, Bluetooth, connected up to your phone. If you want to take a phone call into the chat, no problem, you can connect it up and everything else. But I mean, this all takes real estate. You've got cables running from one device to another, and there are some communication issues that you might pick up along the way. But in terms of just handing these out to the side and not making them my problem, we now have the ISO recording. In terms of ISO recording, it records all the channels in. All of a sudden, I can record to a hard drive, similar to this, and I can simply hand that over to Amarish, and she makes everything work magically. This thing is incredible. But I wanted to take you guys on this journey and the way we ended up on this product, and also how it works in terms of the setup and getting it up and running to simplify your life. So step 1, hardware. Looking at hardware, we've plugged in this Zato on the side. Monitor output from here. I usually have this connected up to a bigger screen so that we have immediate output in terms of what the different views are. We're actually recording this so that we can show to you guys what it actually looks like on the screen. We've got all the necessary information already set up on here. You've got your audio levels that you can check, you've got your recording time, you've got the space, you've got everything here that you need in terms of the setup. So we've just connected it up to the Zato so that we can record what the screen looks like, and we can share that with you guys. We've got the second monitor output. That is how cool this thing is. It's got a second monitor output, and that, I don't even know how to show you guys. Hold on. I don't even know if that photograph's going to make it into the video. It looks crazy in front of me here. It's datums and cables and then things everywhere. It's chaos. But I've got a monitor set up here that's reflecting so that I can actually see what's happening in the video. And that is the main output of the video. Now, in terms of monitors and everything else, this thing's got a little screen of its own. It is a touch screen, so I can quickly and easily go into the settings, and with a knob, simply just go through all the different tracks and settings. I can go back home, I can set up the views, I can set up auto switching or cuts or and then we get to the touch and feel of the buttons over here. In the back, I'm gonna get Amarish to, because there's just too many cables. I can't get this thing in front of the camera here. But there are so many ports that you can plug things into here in the back. You've got 4 HDMI ports running in. You've got 2 HDMI ports running out. So you can run it to various monitors, or depending on how your setup works and what you need. You've got HDMI in and out. You've got audio ins, 2 audio ins, XLR ports, so you can connect up video pod mics or whatever you want via XLR cables. If you're playing a bit of guitar or whatever, those multi-function XLR ports that RØDE have designed, that gives you the functionality to put a 6.35mm jack into it as well. There's a couple of different options in terms of what you can connect up to this, but it just makes it a lot easier. It's not plug and play, but it is so close to it. You've obviously got all the HDMIs, and then you have a bank of USB-C ports that you can connect up to this. We've got the one USB-C port running through to my laptop, and I've got the laptop connected via HDMI running back into this thing so that I can show you so that Amarish can show you what the layout and the app looks like and how easy it is to set this thing up and the functionality around the app. In terms of all the other HDMI ports and the USB-C ports and everything else that it's got available, it's also got a USB-C that runs straight to a hard drive, so I can record straight to a hard drive, leave everything as is, and just take the hard drive out to Amarish and she can make this video look amazing. I've got USB-C power input. It's got an on-off switch. I love the fact that this thing's got an on-off switch. Other switches that we've been using, you pay quite a couple of rands for it, and it doesn't have an on-off switch. It feels like somebody just missed it. I don't know. Maybe they just leave the things on always. But in terms of switching this on and off, super easy, little button. It's a hard button, so it taps, it feels great. And then another functionality is that it's got a micro SD card slot. Now, in terms of connectivity, you're either going to connect this via USB-C to your laptop, or you can connect it via network cable to your network, a Cat6 cable, or you can even use these little antennas. So it can connect via Wi-Fi to your network as well. So you don't always just have to have 9 million cables running to this thing. Now, please hit me in the comment section below and tell me if you are a manual reader or are you a figure-it-outer? Because I'm a figure-it-outer. My approach to these things is to take a thing out of the box and just go and fiddle with everything and just try and figure out what's happening, how's it working, and how it connects to one another. Once I hit a wall and I simply can't get it figured out, I'll then divert back to the manual, or go and start reading up and do a couple of searches and things. I managed to get this thing pretty much up and running. I might have said a couple of words that I wouldn't repeat in front of my kids again, but it was fairly easy to get it up and running. The biggest factor here is you need to connect it to the software. So diving into what this software offers in terms of the use, and this is where we're going to start bringing things together again. I'm going to have a stroll through the RØDE app that I've downloaded on my PC here. We've got the first device connected up, RØDE software via USB connected. It picks up the RCV, no problem. I can give it a name that's going to duplicate to the folders and the files. And Amarish will also add in what that looks like. But the first thing that we're going to dive into is the scene builder, which is super cool. The functionality across the bottom here, like I mentioned, if you go and have a look at some of the older podcasts that I did initially, it was a one-man running situation. And I was trying to control the layout and the views whilst I'm having a discussion with somebody across the table from me. And inevitably, I managed to do it a couple of times because trust me, I'm a professional. I make lots of mistakes. And in terms of using the buttons, I would, from time to time, actually select the camera that's viewing towards me when the guest is talking, and or vice versa. But touch and feel buttons makes life so much easier versus touch screens. Diving into this, Depending on what show you're setting up, or if you're setting up multiple shows, or you've got different segments in the shows and you need different layouts on the screen, you can come and set everything up here. So you can set up the screens, you can set up the buttons, you can even control the different layouts. Where is the source that you're using it from? What's the input from the source? You can give it a name, key features, everything else. If there's a delay in the feed versus some of the other cameras or anything else on the feed, you can control it at the bottom here. But everything is down here on that bottom section. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 are other button layouts that you can use and set up either via USB-C or different devices that you connect up, or sources. Even if you've got files connected and downloaded onto this device via the micro SD. But in terms of that, on the left here, I've got a media library, and these are all just little RØDE video extra files that were on the micro SD card that's in the slot here. So I can build up an entire presentation thanks to this device. And here's the really, really cool part. Once we dive across to this section, these are our scene buttons at the top here, and this is where it gets special. I can literally go and build a layout. If I want picture in picture, I can change which is A or B, is the front or the top. I can do multiple layouts. If you've got a guest speaker and you want to split screen with both guys on the screen, if you want to do multiple, more custom, you name it, it's all available there. And it's so quick and easy in terms of building this layout for what you want. Here are the 3 screens. The fourth one that's missing in the bottom there is usually our roaming camera. So depending on our setup here, if we need a third angle, we'll simply hook up another camera onto an HDMI, which is already connected in there. It's as quick as easy as that. Boom, there we go, no problem. Diving across, you've got the different scene layouts. So depending on which segment of the show it is, we would just simply cut across to that scene layout, and there you go. You don't have to go and figure everything out in the heat of the moment. Setting up through this software does take some time, and figuring it out initially took me a couple of minutes, but eventually everything just starts slotting into place. It almost felt like a Survivor Immunity Award challenge where you're building a puzzle and you are way behind, and all of a sudden every piece you pick up just slots into place, and it becomes so much easier. And that is what has made this device such an ingenious product in terms of your streamlining and work. You can quickly go across to the audio system, all your inputs, your outputs, you've got your different levels that you can control here. You've got the Apex processor that's controlling everything there. In your audio, you can go and make some changes if something isn't working out or sounding right, depending on the mic system that you're using. Now, once we dive into the mic system once again, we're using hello, here I am mics. We're using the RØDE Wireless Goes, connected up with a smart lav, quick and easy, wirelessly connected to this device. So switch it on, boom, there we go, up and running. I can check the audio levels on here. I can check the audio levels on my bigger monitor that's not a bigger monitor, it's usually a bigger. We're using the Zata just to show you what that looks like. But you've got an immediate view of what's happening and what the status is on pretty much everything. The recording time currently is 15 minutes. Amarish usually makes it a lot less. So let's all give her a little bit of a round of applause in the comment section below. We're going to dive across to the device configuration, and this is a crucial part that I want to take some time on here, because this, once again, it's a bit of a setup initially, and it just makes everything so much easier in post. Your outputs are controlled. What's happening via the USB-C out? What's happening via the HDMI out? I've got one set up for multi-view so that I can see what all the channels are doing, where everything's going. I've got one set up here for a single view. That's the program view. That's my main view. And that's what I've got in the monitor right in front of me. I've got different setups for the outputs, the network output, everything else. Frame rates. Are you NTSC? Are you PAL? Where are you in the world? We can set everything up here depending on what we are doing, what we're shooting, where it's going to. The switching functionality, is it instant or is it studio? And it gives you a great description below of what it's actually doing and how that functionality is working. So with the instant mode, it's prioritizing the speed, allowing you to capture spontaneous action without missing a beat. With the studio mode, you've got a couple of transitions that you can bring in, so it's just smoother, slower, looks a little bit more professional, dare I say. But if you're working with sports angles or anything that happens instantaneously, you kind of need those faster and quicker switches. So you've got control over that. You've got control over the recording functionality, and this is probably one of the coolest sections here. Chatting with the guys from RØDE, I was slightly reluctant because I didn't pick up that this thing is actually doing ISO recording, and it immediately ticked all the boxes in terms of our workflow. We connect everything up, I start talking, and Amarish makes it look good in post, switching between this view and this view. Depending on which views we're using, is it on the screen, is it wherever, she makes everything work. And because this thing is now recording ISO activated, we've got every video and every audio source input in separate files. Amarish is going to connect that up and display it to you guys on the screen here. This is what it looks like once you've plugged in the hard drive into your PC or Mac. And you can drag all these files into your favorite editing software, be it DaVinci Resolve's what we prefer. And it's just as easy as selecting the different scenes and going on and cutting in between. But all the footage that came in is recorded onto one device, and it just works so much easier. The program quality, it's great. We've got high quality. All of a sudden there's a boost in the image quality. We don't know if you guys have picked it up. If you have picked it up, please give us a round of applause in the comment section below. But we're going to dive across into the audio section because we've got headphones, we've got monitors, we've got multi-track that we can do, and it'll do the audio output according to that. If you're using monitor systems, fixed output levels, or you can control the output levels via the dials on the device itself. Heading across to the brightness on the display, that is for that little doohickey on the device itself. This is a touchscreen, so once again, if you go through here, you can hit into any of the audio settings, your camera settings, or the delays on anything. Everything is there that you need at a quick glance. Once again, the way we've set it up with this, it just works a lot easier. That is usually connected up to a bigger monitor, and it just makes it a lot easier to see where are the audio levels at. Do we need to adjust anything? Is anything not recording? What are the different camera angles? What do they look like, and how do they work? Your network setup, because it's got Wi-Fi functionality, you don't have to run it through something else. If you want to do streaming and you don't have a network cable, you can simply connect it up via Wi-Fi and hit into this section here. So NDI senders, NDI receivers, NDI general, and then obviously the Wi-Fi connectivity. We're not using that at the moment, so it's not something that I'm worried about. As soon as this thing's connected up via USB-C to my laptop, I can run everything through there. So it's also connected via that. We've got a screen layout here, 24-hour. That's also for the timing and the device and all the different setups here. Storage, Bluetooth, and info. So once again, you can connect up a Bluetooth device onto this. If you want to take phone calls in or whatever, almost anything is possible through this device. The layout and changes in terms of what this offers you for the setup, it's so easy. When we get into the functionality of this product, and that's where it all comes together. You've got the different layouts, you've got the different functions. We can dive back into this section and we're going to get to the really magical part about this product. Once you've got this set up, it makes everything so much easier. Depending on whether you've got a chair guy, like every decent super, if you've got a floor girl, what about the guys sitting at home, running their own studios and running their own podcasts, hosting a show and not really having the functionality or the convenience of a chair guy monitoring everything right in that moment? The greatest thing about this is how AI has changed our life. I mean, be it for good, be it for worse. If the machines take over one day, I've always been greeting AI every time I open it and start chatting. It's always a good morning, how are you? You know, be respectful. You got to keep the future in mind. But once we look at this software and we dive into this auto switching function, this is where it gets magic. You can connect the audio systems. If you're running a podcast and I've got a pod mic in front of me and you've got a pod mic in front of you as my guest, I usually recommend 3 cameras. There's a wide angle that captures both of us. There's one camera that singles you out, and there's one camera that singles me out. And with this software and the functionality of this desk, you can now prioritize who out of that conversation is important. You can connect the audio to the camera, and then you have a situation where if I'm talking, the camera switches to me. But if you start talking, you are the guest, you carry priority, so it's automatically going to switch to you. And if both of us are busy talking and the switching becomes chaos, it switches to the wide angle covering both of us. So you can literally go and control an auto switch function. Because the ISO functionality is there, this will already pre-capture a cut or a version of it. If you've watched the video in post and you're not happy with it, you still have all the ISO files from this device. That's going to be your program file that it puts out as a pre-edited version, already cut for you. How easy do you want it? That is incredible. I think that is probably one of the coolest features, and I've seen it out on a couple of AI platforms and software plugins to edit your videos. But now it's all in one device. It's everything. You come into the shop, you speak to one of the go-to guys downstairs on the floor, they introduce you to this, you get all the other necessary extras and a bazillion cables to run it to your cameras, your mics, or if you go wireless, no problem. And you connect it up, you set up the software, and boom, you're done. It is as easy as that. One of the great functionalities is it's got a big red button that you press for your recording, and it records immediately. With previous switches that we've used, you kind of press the record button and it takes a while before it starts recording. And that just, it's frustrating. It's kind of, we gotta go, we gotta create this content, we gotta get it out. And that in the flow of things, it just feels like this is a complete package. That's what I think about the RØDECaster Video. It is everything you need in one device to manage your audio, manage your video, and get everything up and running, be it for streaming, be it for recording, for content creation that you're going to edit and post. It doesn't matter. This will get you to that production point as quick as possible. This is absolutely worth the time to get into contact with the go-to guys at Outdoorphoto and come and check it out. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. And thanks to the guys for sending us one to test out. I don't think you're going to get it back. So from the RØDE guys, if you're watching this, thank you. You're not seeing this thing. You're not getting it back again. I'll fight you for it. Guys, for now, I'm Gunther. This is Outdoorphoto. Lekker. Cheers. I'm out. Nice, Amrish.